Am I the idiot for calling my mom's fiance a creep? We had been going through pretty rough months in my family. I am 17, male. There was tension between my mom and dad. They weren't talking to each other, and when they did, it was only to fight. After months of constant fighting, they decided to get divorced. That was 2 years ago. And NGL, when they divorced, the one who suffered the most was my dad. He never put on a sad face when he was with us, but I could hear him cry in his room when he thought we were asleep. For the record, I am the youngest and I have a brother, male 19, and a sister, 20, female. After this, the fighting didn't stop, so now they fight for which of us loves them more. If I am honest, my siblings and I are inclined with my dad. He has always taken good care of us, helps us through everything, and he listens to us. Not like my mom. She has never been there. There have always been more important things to attend to or pay attention to rather than us. I never minded since my dad was always there. My mom is a pretty important lawyer in our city. Meanwhile, my dad has a PhD in physics and works as a college professor. After their divorce, we stayed with my dad. We see my mom like 1 day per week and only if she has time. We kinda never see her because she always reschedules. So months ago, my mom told us she was going to get married to this dude who we had never seen. His name is Richard, but asked us to call him Rick. She said we all should get along. Since then it has been a nightmare. Don't get me wrong, he is cool I guess, but I do find him a bit odd. He always tries to spend his time with me and buys me stuff like clothes, books, etc. He even asks me when I'm available so we can have dinner. I mean, I'm polite towards him, but I just can't connect with him. I feel like it's a forced relationship. And he is not like that with my other siblings. Well, my dad too. He is civil towards him, but there's def tension between them. Last week my brother wanted to try a new recipe. He loves cooking, so he invited my mom and Rick. At first, we were surprised my mom and dad kept civil with each other. We were having a nice conversation. But Rick kept complimenting us, specifically me, that I was an incredible person, very smart, blah, blah. My dad agreed, but this dude kept insisting we were so much alike and that by spending so much time with him he considers me already his son. That def hurt my dad, and I just lost it. I told him to leave me alone. He was being a creep. My dad told me to not call Rick names, and my mom did too. She told me that I was being a brat and that I should behave because Rick will be part of my family and another parental figure to me. I said he wouldn't and that I won't go to her wedding if she marries a creep like him. I stormed off and went to my room. My siblings don't think I am in the wrong here, but my mom insists I was a spoiled brat, and I should apologize to Rick. Am I the idiot? Note, damn, I only came here to find out if I was in the wrong. I just don't know what to say to you. I added the quotation marks to be sarcastic since I don't think we look so alike as he says. Now you really have me worried and wondering. Update. So I didn't want to address this with my dad right away, so I consulted Anne first, my sis. She is the most intelligent person I know, so I asked her. She had the same feeling as me, that Rick was getting way too close to me, and in comparison to her, he is stone cold. Now every time Rick wants to spend time with me, they'll be there too, Anne and Leo my brother. And just like you guys, she asked me to talk to my dad. I did. I sat with my dad and told him about everything. That I didn't feel comfortable around Rick anymore. I appreciated all the effort, but he was pushing way too hard my boundaries. And, like you advised, if mom doesn't understand she can't force a relationship with an actual stranger on me, then I'd rather stop seeing her. My dad understood. He asked me to forgive him for not knowing my feelings toward Rich. He did say that Rick is trying the best he can to get to know each one of us, but he has no say on when we should open up or act like a stalker. He said he'll talk to them, but I told him I'd rather do it since mom may act like I am not being serious or worse. We'll have dinner with them, and Leo and I, next Wednesday, so wish me luck. Update. As I said in my last edit, we went to dinner. At first, everything was silent, but then Anne broke the ice by thanking my mom and Rick for spending time with us and that we should discuss important matters. I didn't know about this, but my mom has been awful to Anne and Leo this week. They addressed that if she wants us to be part of her life, then some changes should be made. After they established their points, it was my turn. I started by stating Rick's presence has been bothering me since day one. Even if I should have said something about it, it didn't justify his behavior. I appreciate the effort, but he has crossed my boundaries, and even if I am willing to have a relationship as friends with him, I'd not offer that option anymore if he continues this way. Also, I'll soon be an adult, so I don't need a parental figure. I already have one. Then pointed out that my mom was allowing this kind of behavior, and it is wrong. If she is not willing to act as a parent and understand my feelings, not only mine but my siblings too, then we'd rather cut our losses. My mom tried to justify her actions. Rick told her to shut up and listen to us. She stormed out of the restaurant, but he stayed. He looked sad and apologized for all this. He didn't mean for this to happen. He asked Anne and Leo if they could give us some space so he and I could talk. Leo grabbed me, but Anne gave him a look, so he let go of me and went to a close table. Rick apologized again, saying he is not like that and the feeling he might not connect with me took out the best on him. Then told me he is my bio dad. My mom was supposed to tell me today, but she cowardly left. He doesn't expect me to accept him in my life, but if ever want to know him or need anything, he'll always be there. When we came back home, I asked my dad. He hugged me and told me everything he knew about it. The thing is, they don't know. The reason my parents divorced was because my mom cheated on him, and after she broke up with Rick, she was pregnant with me. My dad suspected it but never confirmed it. When they divorced, my mom out of rage told him I wasn't his son. Then Rick contacted him to talk about it. He told me, however, I feel it's okay. I shouldn't feel pressured to act in a certain way. If I want to get tested, he'll help me. And no matter what that paper says, his love for me won't change. I'll always be his son. I'm not sure how to feel, but I asked Rick to give me space so I could think about all of this. Also asked my dad if we could just simply be out of our mom's life. I don't want to be involved with her, and neither my siblings. If I am honest, I don't know if I ever want to get tested or at the least allow Rick to be part of my life, but I feel grateful for the family I have, and all the support and love my dad and siblings have given to me. Not the idiot, and I'm glad you have more info. Sounds like Rick might be okay, just a bit awkward, a bit trying to make up for things. Maybe it would be worth giving him a chance. That's up to you. Really, this sounds like a mess your mom created and sustained. Understand why you want to be away from her. It is possible that Rick has mixed feelings about your mom and that he might want a relationship with you more than with her. Hard to tell. Anyway, it's your choice how to approach all this. Do you think he's a creep? Let me know in the comments. No. Am I an idiot for making my son apologize to the girl he bullied? My female 36, son, male 14, has been acting out a lot. I'm trying to give him appropriate consequences, etc., but his father, my ex, just undoes everything I try to implement. My ex, male 36, doesn't care if our son does anything as long as it doesn't affect his athletic abilities, and it's created a cool dad and evil mom dynamic. Anyways, I had a mini vacation planned for the weekend. I have a family-owned house in this beach town and my son and stepdaughters love going down there. The thing is, I got a call from a friend saying that her daughter is a mess because of my son. He asked the poor girl out, and when she said yes, he laughed at her and said some really cruel things. I was horrified. I asked him about it and he rolled his eyes and told me that it was just a joke. When I tried telling him that these jokes hurt, he told me I was being ridiculous and that his dad and stepmom would think it's funny. He then said that he wishes I was as cool as his stepmom. I told him that I'm his mother and that my first priority is his mom not being cool. I then told him that we're no longer going to the beach house. He also has to apologize to the girl, and if he ever bothers her or any other girl again, then the consequences will be a lot worse. I then proceeded to drive him to the girl's house and made him apologize to the girl in front of her mom. He said he was sorry and I also said it. I bought her a necklace and took the money for that from my son's allowance as well. The girl was a lot happier and her mom said she appreciated the apology. While driving back home, my son started yelling at me and said that was the most embarrassing thing he's ever had to do. I told him to imagine how the girl felt when he did that to her in front of everyone. He just said whatever and was like, "Can we go to the beach now?" I said no, we can't and we won't. He started yelling again and said that I was doing too much over a joke and that if the girl accepted the apology, then why am I making things so difficult for him? He also said that since I embarrassed him, this was the least I could do. He later called my ex, who told me that I was a major off for being so harsh, and he more or less repeated what my son said. I don't think I'm the in the slightest, but I see how I'm being harsh. Just wanted some perspective because my ex and his wife and my son are begging me to reconsider and relax. Am I the idiot? Update. Hi, I just wanted to make this post before I move on. I kept my word. No beach house no matter what my ex, his wife and my son said about me. It was hard and I broke down on Sunday because even though I know my son loves me and that he's just angry, hearing him say that he wishes I wasn't his mother over and over hurts a lot. On Sunday, May 1st, after my breakdown, I told him that he can stay with his dad for the week. My ex was going to have him for the weekend anyways. So yeah, Sunday evening I took my son out. I wanted to try one more time to make him understand plus tell him I love him, and that's why I'm being so strict. I took him to a park we used to go to, just him and I usually took him there when my ex and I would fight and he would leave us for days to see his sister. He was pretty moody the entire time and called me crazy for wanting to eat on the grass lol, but he complied. I asked him if he remembered the spot and he said yeah. I then talked to him about everything. I also reminded him that there is nobody in this world and beyond that I love more than him. He was silent the entire ride to his dad's house and I thought I fricked up until we arrived and he said I love you too, mom. It was so hard to keep the tears in. I had to take a break from driving home because of how emotional I was. Monday and Tuesday were calm and nothing out of the ordinary. Wednesday night was different. My husband and I were out while the girls were with my in-laws when I got a call from my son. He was quiet but asked me if I could pick him up. I called my ex, who just told me that our son was being dramatic but I was welcome to take him. It was obvious that he and his father had a pretty bad argument about something. I asked him what happened since ex kept telling me it was nothing. Turns out my ex cheated on his wife. His wife confronted him and brought up the fact that he cheated on me. Ex proceeded to insult me and call me names. My son heard everything and put it together. My son was distressed and I really wish he didn't have to find out. Not like this. When we got home, my son collapsed in my arms and kept saying he was really sorry for everything. I managed to calm him down and he fell asleep on the couch. I was stuck with him in the most uncomfortable position all night, but all I cared about at that moment was my son. I didn't know I could love and care for someone this much. I never planned on having children, so this was a huge concern of mine. But the love I have for my son is crazy. He's a bit awkward, which makes sense. 14-year-old boys don't normally burst into tears and not let their mothers out of their grasp, but it'll be fine. I know it'll be a very long road, but it'll be worth it. Thanks for being supportive. Not the idiot. I'm so sorry you're having to go through all this. It's exactly what I went though. My ex just wants to be liked by our boys and treats them like mates, no like children. There are no rules at his house. They can swear, go to sleep at whatever time in the morning, skip school. Neither them nor he gets up after being up all night. He's unemployed. I left my ex when my sons were 4 and 2. He was an extremely abusive alcoholic and still is, and he made sure the boys were told every visit that I broke up the family. How it was my fault that they had to grow up with their mom and dad in the same home and encouraged them to hate me and tell me so. It's been an absolute nightmare trying to instill boundaries and for me to raise decent young men who respect women when their father actively did everything he could to tell them the opposite of what I did. My sons are now nearly 16 and 13 and 1. 16 doesn't speak to his dad and has refused to go to his house for over a year. He went once recently to see if things had changed and my ex decided to tell my 13-year-old that I cheated on him and he wasn't his real dad and he wanted a DNA test. Completely untrue. He cheated multiple times. My 16-year-old had had enough and called him out on all his BS, and even the 13-year-old didn't believe a word he said and refused to go there until he admitted he lied because he was angry at me for not answering his calls. I used to cry all the time. I was so worried that my boys would just adopt the attitude of their father and all I was doing to raise them would count for naught. But I was dead wrong. I taught my kids to be independent thinkers and eventually, they saw right through their father's friend relationship and broke down because they wanted a real father, not a friend. The 16-year-old hasn't spoken to him for months now and tells me he's just completely done with him. The 13-year-old still loves and adores his father, but is much less inclined to just swallow the lies and doesn't feel like he has to choose his dad over me anymore. Keep doing what you are doing and your son will not only be able to see and make up his own mind, he will be grateful to you in the long run. My boys are still sassy and think they know everything, but they are also polite, loving and have a healthy respect for women. You're doing great, mama, and things will get better, I promise. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed it, don't forget to drop a like.